Live. Ecom Live is a little bit delayed, so I don't see when we're live, but now we are live. It says, so good morning fam, how's it going? How's everybody? Let me check if there's anybody on YouTube already. This is an amazing, beautiful day. I had an amazing workout this morning. I'm getting back to the, I am getting back to the routine. If you guys watching this, let me know what's happening. It's an exciting day. Canadian CPI is in here. I see 3 people here. Guys, let me know if you're watching on YouTube. Please let me know in the chat what's up. Just let me know that you see this. Let me know that you hear this. Let me know everything works. Someone liked it. Let me know what's happening, and then we can take it from there. I am grateful for these 3 people watching me, guys. It's super exciting. Oh, what's up, bro? Down dog. Cool, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you watching this. It's big things are coming, man. Cool. So let's get into it. Very exciting. Very exciting. Very exciting day. Canadian CPI is coming up, which would not necessarily, you know, Nitra Bunny is here as well. Hey, Nitra Bunny, love the name. So very exciting day coming up. We have the Canadian CPI, which would not necessarily mark, you know, like steer the markets, but in Forex, if you're trading the Canadian pairs, and also, you know, it has impact on other ones as well. It is something to definitely look out for. So I'm just going to update this here, and as always, we are going to start with the Forex calendar. I'm going to pull this up here. Why is this not showing? I'm gonna put this up here for you guys to see. First off, let's do the intro. Cool, hey, great. Let's get into the. Oh, and I also upgraded. I can also do this. Okay, let's jump right into it. Another pump today, but this is one for real. Thanks, Fafa, for your daily shows. Gabriel Brinko, I appreciate you being here, man. Guys, by the way, if you're here, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm getting to 100,000 subscribers by 2025. This isn't, you know, it's a kind of big goal. We've got about 2 years to get there, and I have 93, but you know, we're getting there. It's gonna be awesome. And also, I said 100,000 on Twitter, and I have about 2,000. Talking about Twitter, go follow me on Twitter. You can see it down here. So do that. Tom Dog says clapping for the perfect entry. Lovely. Yay. Okay, let's look at the charts, guys. That's it. This is why we're here. Let's look at the charts. I wanna see what's going down here. First of all, let me know. Do you like the music? Should we keep the music? What's happening? Should we keep the music, or is it just me? Or I thought it was, you know, a little bit like, ooh, a little bit jazzy. Lol, when the NFT coming out? Yeah, SEC is watching like this. Okay, but guys, let's get into the content. The content is that we are having an interesting day today. Always, as you know, you should always check the Forex calendar. I'm gonna look at this now. We had something here. Well, I don't even know why it doesn't show here. Yeah, because it's just a meeting. Okay, so we had the multi-policy meetings. Australia, not much happened there, I guess. Canadian CPI is coming out month to month, year to year, trimmed. These are different indicators. Month to month measures it to the previous day or previous month. Median CPI year to year measures it to 12 months. So what was the numbers 12 months before? Compared to now, and then we have the trim, which is like taking the extremes out. I'm not sure how it's calculated, excluding the most volatile 40% of items. Yeah, so the most volatile items are being taken out, so it shows a more steady sequence. So it's very important to see this. We have common CPI and building permits in the US. Again, these are orange dates, so I'm not sure. We really need to pay attention to this. Obviously, could have an impact, but this usually means that it does not really have a major impact on the markets. So, but the Canadian CPI does. And that is going to be something that we're going to look at and trade. But I want to follow up on what is happening here. So let's look at the DXY. Nothing changed. I'm not even going to talk about it now. You can look it up, look at my previous videos. By the way, subscribe to the channel, guys. If you're new here, if you're not, you know, just subscribe to the channel. I have 8 people watching, incredible. You can come to YouTube and let me know in the comments what's happening. What do you want me to look at? I'll take few charts if anybody requests any. So it's worth coming to YouTube, subscribing, and hitting the like button. So DXY, nothing happening there. I'm still expecting it to go to 106, 108-ish. Total 3, we have a little bit of movement, not much. Still, you know, the same thing that we talked about in the last video yesterday. but the total is actually made the move. Did actually make the move. So I drawn this fantastic, beautiful line here, which indicated that we are going to come up to this point of interest and touch and then potentially reverse. Now here's the thing, I do see us reversing here, unfortunately, but there is still hope, as I explained previously, and I'm gonna deep dive into it in Bitcoins in a second, is that we did not break on the so like here's the major structure, right? So this was the point of interest, this was the high that was responsible for the break. This was the high. Oh, what is happening here? Didn't allow me to draw. We don't like that. Let's look at this. Let's look at the daily. Cool. So let's look at the 4 hour. So this was the major high that was responsible for the break below the major low here. So this high was the responsible for breaking below. Technically, this is also a great area. This is why I had this marked as well, but I don't think this is gonna be the actual area, because if we break this high, that's a very strong indication that we are moving on. Higher, potentially up to these regions. So, but we did come up here, touched on to this point of interest. What is interesting is, oh, by the way, someone asked me how do you define point of interest. Now it's very important. I really want to connect with you guys. So if you communicate with me through the chat, through here in the chat, you know, I want to answer the questions, and that is what's going to happen. So point of interest, POI is point of interest, and I defined it based on the, you know, if you look at the last bullish and bearish candle before an impulsive move. Now it's very important. Now I'm mixing stuff up. So let's take it a little bit serious. I'm gonna even take the music then. So point of interest is any area. Point of interest, a lot of people misunderstand. No, I'm gonna put the music back. Let me know in the chat. Music back or no? I'll put the music back. So, point of interest is an area where we could potentially reverse, continue, you know, like that's a point of interest. That's an area where I'm gonna be interested in looking to take a position. That does not mean that we take a position definitely on a point of interest. A lot of times we bleed through. So a lot of times what happens is that you have a point of interest marked in your chart and it's just simply cuts through like, you know, butter and knife. But that does happen. That is why we call this a point of interest, and we want to take confirmations on point of interest. Now, several point of interests exist. Order blocks, for example, breaker blocks, mitigation blocks. So there are different rejection blocks. There are different point of interest order blocks, for example, that could serve as a great indication for us to show a demand or to show a supply. So if you look at the chart here, for example, a very easy to understand point of interest are order blocks, retail order blocks, call them. It's just basically the last bearish or bullish candle before a move. So if you look at this, so what was the responsible for the actual move? And I'm still replying to this question, by the way. So what was the last bearish or bullish candle before a move? So if it's this low, this is actually the point of interest now on the weekly. This is what I'm targeting if we're gonna come down. So I just marked the last bearish or bullish candle. Now this is a Doge Analysis, so potentially we could also take this, but you know, it will be a point, like a preference kind of thing, and also experience as we start, you know, becoming more and more advanced, you will just see your point of interest. But this here, for example, is a great point of interest for me. This is a bearish candle, basically the last bearish candle before a move up when we took new highs. So that indicates to me that this is a great point of interest, and I want to take confirmation entries within this region. So if we would see a higher high on a lower time frame, this would be an interesting area for me to look into, get taken along. But we got the higher time frame here, and then this was another point of interest on a lower time frame. So if you go down on the 4 hour, so within this, so let me just go back here to the daily. A little bit of education. Let me know if you like the education as well, guys. Let me know if you like the education as well, or you only came for the charts. I'm gonna get to the charts as well, but I think it's very important to educate, guys. It's very important to educate. So by the way, you should join crypto school. You should join crypto school. Join us. It's a very cool community. Have fun there. So someone's calling me. Let me just reject it. Okay, so 2 seconds, guys. So it's calling me on Slack. Hugh, my brother. Hugh's calling me on Slack. I'll bring him back. So what I wanted to say is that you wanted to take a higher time frame confirmation on these levels. So if this was a strong market structure shift, meaning if this was reversing immediately from this zone, doing something like this, that would have been a very great indication that we are going to reverse. Then we would have watched out for the actual, again, point of interest before the move. So if this was the move that took the high, then I would have watched out for this, and then to take a higher time frame, what is the lower time frame confirmation that way and get it on the long. But because that didn't happen, we had a wick here, but this was leaving liquidity behind. It built a lot of liquidity. This was not a great level to long from. So this is how I take, this is how I define my point of interest. So, but let's get back to this, because this is something interesting. So we came up to the 4-hour point of interest, as I explained. Let's look at it if we induced the order block there, or we actually touched on it. Look at it. So like this was the actual level where the order flow started. You see, this is the level where, again, talking about point of interest, right? So this order block here, this candle, this little candle on the 1 hour was the actual level where the big candle started to drop. So that was the actual level where you know, it started to drop. Nitro Bunny says both, please. I guess that's for analysis and that's for education. Thank you, Nitro Bunny, for being here. Love. Perfect means daily analysis and education. Awesome. I love it, guys. Love it. I'm very happy that people are eager to learn. So this was the actual level that was responsible for the drop here on the 1 hour. So if you look at this here, this, I would have marked this as the 1 hour point of interest, right? The reason why I'm not really, especially with the crypto market, is very choppy now. So it's very difficult to actually get the levels right on the, especially on these time frames. So this would have worked out nice, but I'd rather take a higher time frame point of interest and then see a lower time frame confirmation there. But this was the level, and then we saw rejection here. So what could potentially happen, guys, is that we are going to go lower. Total market cap is very, very important. It will follow the Dixie. So we will have to see what the Dixie does. The Dixie seems to be taking a little bit of breather here, and that means that it actually did it come back 50%? Let's see. No, it did. So maybe we see another push down. Maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe we see another push down, although we didn't see it here either. So we see another push down. If we see another push down, then that could be a great indication for the total to actually do another push, come up to maybe here or maybe here. I don't think that there is enough room for the total to come all the way if the Dixie is coming back down to the 104, but we shall see. So the important part to understand here is that the total market cap did actually come and retrace to the 4-hour bearish order block, bearish point of interest, and that means that we are potentially going to go down. Guys, if you're new to the channel, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, having daily shows and exciting stuff coming up. So we need to see this low break, by the way. So if this low breaks, then this is a DP decision point for me. If this low breaks, we still can come to the 50%, so we gotta watch out, but I'm definitely getting bearish, like definitely getting bearish. So watch out for that. And also, like, this high needs to break for us to confirm. You know, this is the thing with crypto now, you know, it's just so choppy. Like you need these big ranges to be, come on, you need these big ranges to be you know, broken to understand where you're headed. So anyway, so these are the two levels that I'm looking for. Let's look at Bitcoin. And here's something that I wanted to share with you. So if you watch me daily, this is what I had to say on Bitcoin. Are the scenarios that I see playing out 6 days ago. First of all, I'm pretty confident we are going to come up to this region. So I'm pretty confident that we are going to come up to the 27,200 and 27,500-ish region. Second, once we come up to this region, we either reject, see a lower time frame confirmation, then we have to look for longs, because potentially, depending on how much liquidity we leave behind, we will need to go down to, you know, even lower, potentially 22,000 or lower to touch the weekly levels that are there. Yeah, exactly. So what I meant here is that if you look at this. If you look at this Bitcoin chart, what really happens is that we pushed up to the, sorry about this. We pushed up to the 4-hour point of interest, and we left a lot of liquidity here and here. good and the bad, right? So the good news is that, say the bad news. So the bad news is that we are kind of breaking. So if I consider this on the 15 minute, if I consider this the high, and I do consider this a strong low, except it wasn't in the discount zone, but this is a strong low. We broke that with the wick. Maybe it's just liquidity, I don't think so. So we actually did break it, and now we are making our way back up. Now the problem, this is the bad news, because we are leaving liquidity behind. I see Bitcoin doing something like this and then reversing. So that is the main scenario that I'm looking at right now. But as I explained several times, you have to always think probabilities. So because we left a little liquidity, I think we are going to go down. The question is from where? Maybe we just dump from here, or maybe we go retest this again, point of interest order block. So right now the point of interest for me is this area right here. Let's look at it on the 1 hour. Yeah, so you see, for example, this here as well, very interesting. So I would actually take this candle here. This is the last bullish candle before a move. So this would be my 1 hour point of interest. I would mark it that way, and then I would go down to the 15 minute, and I would say this is my 15 minute point of interest. Potentially the 15 minute playing out, both are very interesting. If we're reversed from the 15 minute, then you know that you got the right level, but either of these are actually very good. So I think we're going to come up here, leave liquidity, and reverse. The second scenario that I see is that we are going to come down to, because liquidity is building up for an order block, a point of interest again. So what is my point of interest down here? Is this move down here, right? So we had this move down, which will be on the 1 hour, basically almost one candle, and this move is going to be my 1 hour point of interest. So between the 26,500 and 26,400-ish region. So this liquidity is building up for that OB. So if we don't come up here and then reverse, then what could potentially happen is that we actually come down here, take this liquidity here around 26,700, and then reverse from there, and then push to maybe new highs, or push to these 27,300, 27,400 region. Now that will be an interesting long, again, take confirmations. My only problem with this is that there's liquidity below. So this level is not gonna be a very, very awesome level. Not much liquidity, but we do have liquidity below. It's basically a pool. So you don't have direct liquidity here below because it's already been taken with this wick, but we have a pool below, and we did not come back for the discount zone. That means 50% retracement. So we should come back to the 50% retracement. And this is the reason why I think that this level is not going to hold. What level I'm looking at to long is this right here. So I'm gonna look for, let's look at the 1 hour point of interest. I'm gonna look for, actually I'm just gonna say point of interest. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the 25,900 and 25,700-ish region as a potential reversal. So if we come up here, this would be a very decent short, and then we have to see a lower time frame confirmation for us to confirm whether we are going to reverse or not, because we can go up, it can happen. So summarizing everything now, I think I gave you everything I think about Bitcoin. Summarizing everything, I think what's going to happen is that we're either going to push now. This is the most likely scenario. Push now, take the high about, take the point of interest around 27,300, and then push all the way at least to 25,800 at least. That's my main scenario. Second scenario, we just take liquidity below 26,700 and reverse from around 26,500, or immediately dump down to the 25,800-ish region. We got to see point of interest are the regions where we are going to take confirmation for longs or short. So it's important to keep an eye out on that. So let's look at Doge. I'm expecting Doge to come take this liquidity. So that's what I still expect. I talked about it yesterday. If you have missed the video, shame on you. No, I'm just joking. But go back and rewatch it. It will potentially come back to 57.66 and then rocket. But again, Doge is, especially with Elon, tweeting all this kind of stuff and supporting Doge, this can just pull this. It can just pull a big push up. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We got to see and react. If we come back down to the daily point of interest, if you look at this, this is a very juicy chart. I have to refresh, sorry. It's interesting, trading is freezing all this if I don't look at it for a while. I still see 6 people watching. Guys, if you're new here, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot, appreciate it. I'm gonna do daily stuff, not only crypto, but it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna tell stories as well, and let me know in the comments if you wanna hear stories and stuff. Cool. So we have this liquidity here. I expect Doge to, you know, potentially take this. Another point of interest, that's going to be the 4-hour point of interest. So we are potentially going to take this liquidity here before moving up, but you know, we got to react. If we're going to overall, I actually am thinking bullish. So if you look at this chart, I mean, you cannot not be bullish. We have broken above here. The main structure is down around 0.057 and 0.053. So and then we retested that. We couldn't break a high on the 12-hour or the daily, but we could create a great semi-great reversal on the 15-minute just here, and that's why we're probably coming back to the 50% of this rejection block. I'm expecting those to come back down to the 57.66 region. Rune, very interesting. So I actually talked about Rune short, which played out pretty nicely. If you go down on the 5-minute, this was the first break. So this is the lower time frame confirmation. This is what I talked about as well. It shot through our point of interest. It didn't make a high, so that's you know, here. It didn't make a high. It potentially came back. I don't even know if it came. Yeah, exactly. So it came back to the 50% of the unmitigated area of the wick. So if you have a rejection block like this, where you have a big wick, you usually want to take the 50% of that wick, and that could be a very great point of interest by in and of itself. So it came back. It smashed through my point of interest, mostly because of the liquidity, I believe, and also because it had to come back to the 50% of that rejection block. And so this is why I said point of interest is just a point of interest. We didn't get a confirmation here, so I'll delete this. This was the liquidity taken, deleted. This was the move that I drafted. And we didn't come down, and that's actually a strong indication again that we are potentially going down. So if you look at the 5-minute, this was the trade that could have been taken. I actually did not take this trade because I wasn't next to my computer, but this was the first market structure shift. Then we look at the 5-minute structure, where did the inefficiency start? It started here. Now again, this would be the point of interest, right? So the point of interest would be up here. You would be right saying that, and there's liquidity. And if we come up to this level ever again, that's a very great area for shorts because of the liquidity that lays above here. But we came back to the beginning of the inefficiency where the fair value gap started. That's where the real money comes in. That's where, you know, they start selling. That's why we see real candles. Gabriel Brinker, I see you. BTC Dominance, we can look at it. So we retested. This could have been our short. We would have put our stop loss above the high and then potentially target the region down here. You would have already, even if you sell now, 12268, but I would target this region down here, so potentially 12445. Again, I missed this trade, so I'm not getting back in. You can mark the structures if you want to short, but we're already pretty much close to the bottom, and it's building up liquidity to come back down potentially. It will push and then come back down, retrace to this 15-minute point of interest where we already bounced, potentially come down to the 1.84, 1.825 region, and then reverse from there. Let's see what it says. I'm just gonna put in 15-minute point of interest. This is what I see happening here. So if we come up to this region, which is 1.97, this could be an interesting reversal zone for us, especially if we don't take the 15-minute point of interest. If we do take this, then don't short here because it's not gonna hold most probably. That's about Rune. And then someone asked me to look at Kaspa. And because I want to listen to you guys, I really want to make this a very interactive channel. I really want you guys to drive what we should look at and what we should learn. I wanted to look at Kaspa as well. Now you always have to think structures, and we're talking about a relatively new, project, so we don't have a lot of history, but we can work from what we have. And what we have is that we have a main structural point here, then we have a high here, then we have a retracement here, where into the point of interest, right? So when we have a retracement to the point of interest, yeah, you see it from the comment. Yeah, I actually can just take the comment down here. So when you have okay, let me start again. So when you have a main structural point, then you have a push, then you have a pullback, right, into the actual demand zone, into the point of interest. Then you have another big push. So this is already a three-point structure on a main structure, not in the intermediate structure or internal structure. Sorry. So what we see here is that if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have to have 4 point of structure to confirm an overall trend, and we do have that, almost have that. So we have a low created here, which actually comes back to the 50% region, Let me look at this. The reason why I'm not pulling it from here, because here we had the 50% retracement. We didn't quite come back. I would consider this as good. Because we did come back here. We did come back to the major demand zone here. Look at this, like we did come back down here. Look at how accurate this was. So this was the last bearish bullish candle before an actual move, the main structure. We come back down here. Guys, if you're new, smash that like button, please. It helps me. Let me know in the comments what coin I should look at. I'm gonna get into it in a second as well, and subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter. So this is a point of interest. It came back down and it is moving up nicely. So if we, and here is where the scenario gets interesting, because if we are able to break above this high, that confirms the structure, the 4-point structure that I was talking about on the major trend, and that's massive. That's massive, because then we get into price discovery and, you know, whatever. I'm actually invested, so I hold this token on my bag. Shout out to Sai Chaos for calling this out very early. So if we break above here, that's a very strong confirmation that we have a 4-hour 4-point structure, and that means that on overall we can see higher prices on Kaspa, definitely. So I'm expecting to have a break here, and once we do have the break, I'm gonna look for a 50% retracement. Let's say price goes up here. Let's see what it did actually. So if I take it from, let's say I take it from here to here. This is gonna be cool, guys. You're gonna like this. I don't know if you knew this tool, but if we do the same thing here and we predict where this price could go, I'm gonna pull my Fibonacci. Let's say we do the same kind of. Actually, it would tie in very well. Look at this. So it would come up here. We have a little bit of rejection. We close above. We come back for a little retest to the intraday internal demand zone. Look how accurate would this be? Look at this. This would be so fucking accurate. So this is this move, by the way. So it would be so accurate. It would just come back down to this would be our demand zone. This is crazy. This is crazy cool. So it would come, if we push, it would come back down to the demand zone, internal demand, and then move on. This would be pretty decent. So this is actually a scenario that could play out. I see it closing above here, then consolidating, coming back to demand, and then pushing even higher, or it actually does come back down to the 50% here. So we close above, we come back. This would be our main point of interest. So if we can close above, this will be my main point of interest. I will definitely be interested in buying here. So potentially something like this, and then a retracement to this 50% here, depending on where that will be. So you got to look out for the point of interest once we break above the highs. And now let's talk about the CPI, and let's talk about the forex pairs. Let me know in chat. Do you guys trade forex, or is there anybody trading forex, or are you mostly crypto, or what's happening? So I had this call on the euro dollar. You know, I was expecting a reversal. If you look at the 4-hour, I'm expecting us to come back down to this major demand again, the structural points. So you got to look at prices at trampoline. It always bounces. So I'm expecting at least a 1.06 retracement, or even potentially, because of the discount, we're so close, we can either wick through or come all the way down to this 1.04-ish region, and that would tie very nicely into the Dixie, pushing all the way to 106. So that could be pretty interesting. So, but for a day trade, what I'm gonna look at even today is that we have to see a rejection. So we are building a lot of liquidity. We came up to the point of interest on a 5-minute, basically cut through, so nothing happened there, but we could not close above the decision point. We wick through, which could be liquidity grabs, but the fact that we did not go and close below the strong lows, that's an indication for me that we are potentially going to push higher. So because I'm overall bearish, I would not long this. But looking at the liquidity, I believe that what we're gonna see is that we are going to see a push towards this region, which is, by now you should know, a point of interest. It's probably the 1-hour or even the 4-hour point of interest. Yeah, so that's gonna be, yeah, exactly. So this is gonna be the whole 4-hour point of interest, right up here. the last bearish or bullish candle before a move. So this would be, I'll mark this as the 4-hour point of interest. Exactly. So we're potentially going to push up here, and then maybe the 50% of this week, I don't know, but potentially around that region. Let's see this. This would be an interesting shorting opportunity for me around 1.0739. Other than that, I'm gonna be getting in long because on a higher time frame, we are bullish. So I'm still looking at this region. Let's look at the CPI and the Canadian dollar against other. Let's look at BTC Dominance. I actually haven't looked at BTC Dominance in a while. So again, the same principle applies, you know. So price needs to reverse, or needs to have like at least a little bit of. So price always needs liquidity and demand or supply to move. So if you look at this chart, what you can, Gabriel, are you still here? Let me know if you're still here. And if you're not, I'm gonna be crying here and camera. No, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna be crying, but I would be happy if you're here. So what you gotta look at is that the same thing, the same charting thing. You gotta look at liquidity concepts. You gotta look at premium and discount zones. You gotta look at strong levels. So overall, what I think that the dominance is doing a 50% retracement, right? So it is doing a 50% retracement, and that means, you know, if and when the ETFs, for example, get approved, or there's some specific demand for Bitcoin, this will retrace to the 50% mark and reject at some kind of supply zone. Again, point of interest, this would be my first point of interest. I will mark it pretty vague because you have a lot of liquidity up here as well. So this is potentially going to be the weekly point of interest, but I would be interested in looking at this area, potentially up to the 60% level, and that could be the time for the alts. So I'm still bullish on dominance. Depending, again, you got to look at the market cap as well. So let's look at the weekly image. So until we break, we're definitely bullish. Like definitely bullish on in the internal structure. On the, you know, on the external structure, this is our structure. So we're still like struggling on this one for a while, because of all the alt rollers and stuff like that. But on the so if you look at this year, we're definitely bullish, and we are completing these waves with a very nice 50% retracements. So we did not have a retracement here, but I'm not even sure that we are going to have this. Maybe, you know, we are bearish on the, again, like you have to look at different time frames, right? So on the weekly, we are bullish. On the daily, we are bearish because we're coming down. So until we break this high, Bitcoin dominance is going to come back down to the potential you know, reversal or mitigation zone, which would be the daily point of interest. So this is what I would be looking at, and then from there, yeah, would be a great idea to look at converting into Bitcoin. But I see odds popping potentially. So let's look at the interesting trade, USD Canadian dollars. So again, on the weekly, we're kind of bullish. We left a lot of liquidity up here. So this could be an interesting target area for us on a higher time frame. And also, as you see, we're building up a lot of liquidity here. So that's a great indication for us to push. Now, very important, if you look at the numbers, right? So the numbers will come in today. CPI. So it says here as well, actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So what does that exactly mean? I wrote a thread about it. By the way, you should follow me on Twitter. But I wrote a thread about it, and the thread said that the thread explained everything like CPI, PPI, PMI, all that, and what the indications are. So actual greater than forecast means if the number here, the actual, is greater than the forecast, so it's higher than 0.2%, that means that it's gonna give strength to the Canadian dollar. So if you look at this chart, this is the US dollar measured against the Canadian dollar. So if price goes up, the US dollar is strengthening because you have to pay more for $1 US. You have to give more Canadian dollar for $1 US. That means that the Canadian dollar is weakening and the US dollar is strengthening compared to each other. And the same thing happens. So if the number comes in here, if the CPI number comes in here, greater than 0.2, 3.7, 3.7, that means that the Canadian dollar will strengthen, and that means that this chart here will have a drop because I was showing you the USD. So this will have a drop, and that's actually pretty good, because if you look at that, that if the numbers are coming in stronger than it is, like higher than it is, and I expect it, I'm not a fundamental analysis guy, so I'm not sure how the numbers are, but I know that if the numbers come in, we have a lot of liquidity built here. So if the numbers come in higher than expected, we could see a reversal coming down all the way to this region. So this could be the beginning of the reversal down, because you know we were on the internal structure as well. What is our point? You know, structural point. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are in a confirmed downtrend. We retested a point of interest up here. Oh, we actually induced it. That's not the best. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. As this was liquidity, we took liquidity here. This is the actual level. You see, we added the order for start. It started here. No, we induced it. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting, because that means we might have a push. Numbers might come in lower than expected. Okay, anyway, so it's so what I wanted to say is that we have a 4-point structure, so that means we are confirmed in a downtrend. This retested some kind of supply up here, induced, which is interesting. So we might see a push here on today's numbers. But we break the internal structure here as well. So that's a great indication that we are going to go down. Maybe even if the numbers are going to be good, you know, even if the numbers are going to be good, we see a little bit of push up to this region and then continue our way down. Maybe wick through. We got to watch out. Or maybe this is exactly what is going to happen. That this point of interest is the trap. It's going to come up to this major area that I've been talking about, and then reverse from there. So these are the major levels to look for. What I'm going to do is that I'm definitely going to look for a short no matter what the results are. So I'm going to look for a short, and I'm going to look for, or I'm going to look for a long down here, or potentially, you know, again, liquidity, we got to see the lower time frame confirmation, or here. So I'm going to look for these regions. I'm going to look for short around 1.36. Again, we are in the USD Canadian dollar. From this region. So I'm going to look for shorts around 1.38 to 1.36. I'm going to look for a lower time frame confirmation, basically a lower low on the 15-minute or 5-minute, depending on what we see. And I'm going to be looking at a long from 132 to 131, and from 130 to 129. Same thing applies. I'm not going to go through the charts because we don't have much more time. It's like 40 minutes now. All right. Let me know if you like these content, and let me know if this is something of interest. I'm not going to go through this. The same thing applies that in the USD Canadian, depending on what the numbers are going to be. If the numbers are greater than the forecast, is going to be higher than the forecast, then we're going to drop here, potentially retest these areas. And if the numbers are worse, the numbers are lower, that means that we are going to see a push, most probably. And yeah, very interesting trade that I might be taking is this one. It's not loading. 2 seconds. Because we are on a daily and 4-hour point of interest. So again, like, we have a lot of liquidity building up, and depending on how the market will behave today, my game plan, this is the day trade that I will be looking at, is that we have a bunch of liquidity in. So first of all, what you can do is just this is a valid trade. Like this is a valid trade. I'm gonna tell you that. Obviously you want to see what you want to target, but this is a valid trade. So putting your stop below the strong structural point here, which would be 1.23, is a valid trade. You enter here and then exit around any of these levels, maybe around here, so maybe around 1.28. So this is a valid trade. But if you look down on a 15-minute and you want to take a little bit more confirmation, you could definitely do that. Maybe look at the 5-minute. We have some liquidity built up here. Yeah, so we need to see a high break. So what is our structure? Always ask yourself, what's the structure? And the structure is the following. We had a trap here, actually. Oh, we still didn't break below. Okay, maybe this is our structure now. This is the structure here. So this is the high, the structural point, the main structural point, and this is the low. So we need to see a break below here. Let me see if we have any order blocks down here. it doesn't allow me to go back. Let me send a 15-minute. Let me see. Yes, it's potentially gonna come down. Like, it would be nice to see, but we don't see it. So somewhere here, right? So somewhere here would be the actual area where we need to see a reversal. Why? Because that was the last move, down move before an up move. So last candle on the high time frame. Let's look at this. We are in that area, guys. We are in that area. So this trade could be very, very cool. Let's see what we're gonna do here. So I want to see a 5-minute high break. So I want to see what would be ideal is if we saw a break below here, take this liquidity and then move on. That would be very, very nice. We see a confirmation here with a high being taken, then a retest to the demand there, and then off we go. This is the scenario that I'm playing. Let me just put it up here so it's more visible. So this is my structural point here, main structure. Actually, we'll wick through. Let's see what it does. If we break above here, I will get in on the retest. Or even get in here. Yeah, even get in here. And maybe I'll play it on the 4-hour. Because it makes because it makes a lot of sense to actually play it for the long term, because the chart looks very, very nice. So I'll set an alert here. Other than this, I really want to see a break below here. An actual break, like a close below here and then a reversal. That would be more powerful than that. Guys, I hope that you like this. I hope that you enjoy the content. Thank you so much for staying so long, for watching, and appreciating the content. Let me know in the chat what coins you want me to watch, what alpha you want to know. If there's anything you don't understand, it's been a 40-minute stream, so there's a lot to digest. And I see you here tomorrow. Take care, guys. Have fun.